Welcome back to Burnout Blockers. Okay, so you know you're here to learn how to block burnout from interfering with your life as a teacher. Before we go any further into our tips for better thinking habits, let's talk about the burnout symptoms we want to prevent and overcome if necessary. Simply defined, occupational burnout happens when you experience long-term unresolvable job stress. For teachers, it usually results from having more to do than is possible during normal working hours. But it's also influenced by difficult student behavior, lacking adequate resources, and feeling unsupported by administrators and colleagues. Early signs of burnout include anxiety symptoms, like a racing heart and shortness of breath, trouble sleeping, eating and digestion issues, increased illness, and irritability. Eventually, these symptoms may result in a sense of hopelessness, isolating oneself from social interactions, depression, and sometimes even apathy about the job. If you do feel overwhelmed, it's essential to seek support right away. Meet with a mentor or administrator you trust to help you talk through some solutions. It's not a sign of weakness to ask for more guidance at work. Same goes for being honest with your family and friends that you need more support in your personal life. And if problems persist, working with a counselor to manage mental health issues. For now, just take a deep breath and let's get into a mindset that will help you prevent burnout. The idea of winning the day. Even if Miss Newman was in charge of teaching just a few students, she wouldn't be able to sustain a perfect learning environment 100% of the time, or control everything her students do. Teaching will always be a mix of skill and chance. So when she has 1 or 2 students out of 30 who have gotten a bit out of sorts, she's trying not to let the momentary stress it causes ruin her day. Other more unusual things, like a skirmish in front of her door, a malfunctioning fire alarm in the middle of a unit test, and a copy machine that's broken all week, are also just up to chance for the most part. Incidents like that represent such a small percentage of what happens on any given day. Still, they have a special talent for ruining it for Miss Newman, because she reacts by blowing them out of proportion and taking them personally, even though they're up to chance and she can't prevent them. So, to reduce her stress, she can respond by reminding herself often to focus on the regular stuff she can influence more, with her developing skills, like planning a balanced class, designing solid tests, and keeping papers organized. But she's still getting more support. She's already working with a mentor who helps her with her weak spots. Sometimes she finds good ideas for classroom management in online videos, and she talks through issues on message boards. She's trying to keep in mind that improvement takes time, and it's hard to act on every tip at once. That's why it can help to get a new frame on the situation by thinking of each school day like preparing for a sports game. For example, an NBA player is going to focus on building the skills that will help him compete with the pros, like passing and shooting under pressure, well-positioned defensive footwork, and maintaining endurance throughout the game. Any good coach will remind the player not to dwell on chance events that have happened or could happen, like spraining an ankle or a random fan turning the whole crowd against him. So, ahead of each school day, Miss Newman can think about what skills will set her up best to win the day on the whole, because as the coaches say, a win is a win. How she gets to the win isn't always pretty. She has tongue-tied moments and students who tempt her to scream. But it's still a win if she gets through the day with enough appropriate material to teach, deals with upset students promptly, and shows up to her other duties. So when a chance event puts a black spot on the day, consider it a reminder to bring your focus back to the skills you can affect over time. You have the power to continue making choices that will give you the W for the day, week, marking period, and before you know it, the whole school year. Now, be sure to check out the next Burnout Blockers video, where we'll show you how to recognize the cycle of stress-induced habits and how you can replace them with healthier behaviors. How I Decide is an educational nonprofit dedicated to improving the ways people make decisions. If you like what you learned in this video, check out what we can help you teach your students. Our Habit-Wise and Mindful Choices programs bring positive structure to their daily routines to help them manage life stressors and make better decisions. Go to programs.howidecide.org to get free access to the lesson materials.